Hello, long time no see. Today I want to talk about a basic fallacy that we are not always aware of. First, a little bit of an introduction. There are anti-rational memes in society, and they have found their place in the internet as well. Some of them are widely spread, and some of them not so widely spread. I will give two examples, one of a widely spread anti-rational meme, and that is Christianity, and another one, a variant of anti-natalism, the variant which wants to extinguish life altogether.
So yeah, life is pointless. We should discontinue the insane experiment.
We were taught at school that it is incorrect to mix up levels of explanations. That is, when you study something, some phenomena, you should explain it at the proper level of explanation. For example, the atom, fundamental particles at the level of theoretical physics, reactions, compounds at the level of chemistry, and so on, psychology, biology, human history. It is, for example, incorrect to give an explanation of the material world at the level of psychology or cognitive sciences. It is incorrect to give an explanation about the atoms at the level of an instance in human history, and so on. And we were taught that this fallacy is called Scientism. Now, there is a big problem here, because I see on YouTube that many people, when they say Scientism, they understand the notion that anything can be known only from science. In comments on these videos, I see that many people can sense that there is something illogical, anti-rational in these videos, but they write, "I can't put my finger on it." And I want to talk about the fallacy that these anti-rational memes make. I would like you to think about that and tell me if you have another proper name for this kind of fallacy. I want to give you certain examples of scientism. In the video, I will be calling this fallacy Scientism because that's how I studied it. But if you have another name, a more appropriate name for it, please write in the comments. At the basis of the anti-rational meme Theism, religion, Christianity, is an incorrect explanation of the material world from the cognitive scientists, from at the level of consciousness, mind. Consciousness, intelligence, is a latecomer. And proper science, through the ages, we have learned that at the level of matter, you use that level of explanation. Aristotle, in ancient times, didn't do that. He said that objects fall to the ground because they wish to go to the ground. That is their home. And when they get closer, that's acceleration, they start falling quicker because they're jubilant that they will soon be home. At that time, those people were, it was excusable to mix up levels of explanation because they didn't know about physics. What we now know of the science physics, chemistry, and so on. So at that time, people could see the material world, they were aware that they have consciousness, that people can design, plan things and make them. So that is why they didn't have any other explanation, but they thought that the material world was also made in this way, the way they made tools and other things. And that is why the concept of God appeared in their own image with uplifted characteristics. And they said that God has created everything, just as they make things.
For the cause of the universe is plausibly an unembodied mind or person. And thus we are brought not merely to a transcendent cause of the universe, but to its personal creator. It follows that design is the best explanation of the fine-tuning of the universe. And thus the fine-tuning of the universe constitutes evidence for a cosmic designer.
But what happened when somebody else has made the universe and people, then people are presented as if they don't have value because somebody else has created them, has given them that kind of consciousness, that kind of psychology, has given them free will, which is very paradoxical. How do you give a free will to somebody? So humanity has always been underappreciated because it was not known that what evolution and biology, science tells us today, that people themselves through evolution have created morality because it was important. The actions and the effects of those actions on other people were taken into account, and that's how morality appeared, and it has always been something flexible. For example,
then we had no real way to condemn the Nazis for what they did.
Ages ago, people did not have that moral value, that large numbers of people should not be killed, what we now have after the Nuremberg process in 1945. That mass murder is reprehensible and punishable, and so on. The other example of a not so widely spread anti-rational meme that I will give is anti-natalism, what one YouTube user in Inmendham has given a name to Efilism. That is, he hates life, and he expresses that by turning the word life backwards, so you read Efil instead of life, Efilism. He is committing on a major scale this fallacy, Scientism, what I call Scientism, and you can give me another name if you have it. He explains life not at the level of biology, evolution, and so on. He pretends that he explains life with evolution, but he only uses incorrectly a phrase, the selfish gene.
That's what's deciding now. Basically, there is a dictator in place, dumber than Hitler, the most disgusting dictator you could possibly contrive. Jabba the fucking Hutt is now deciding the fate of every living being on this planet.
And then he explains life at the level of explanation of history, Middle Ages. One instance there, when one pope was, it was noticed that he gives good posts in the Vatican to nephews, because popes there couldn't get married, they didn't have legitimate children, so their closest relatives were nephews, and that phenomenon was given the name nepotism. At this level of explanation is completely inappropriate for an explanation of life. Then he uses another inappropriate level of explanation of life, and that is sports. Game. Life is not a game. There are sport games that have been created by humans for their amusement. He gives an explanation for life at the level of another instance in human history, instances in human history, cannibalism.
Pretend we don't know the whole thing is stupid and it's insane and it's just a bunch of, cannibalism. It's just a bunch of consumption, reproduction, addiction that just leads to a bunch of cannibalism. We just eat each other up for our ego gratification.
That is not the whole life. Another wrong level of explanation for life is chemistry. That is addiction. You cannot explain life at the level of chemistry, because addiction, that is chemicals that act on you in a certain way. So that's the main thing I wanted to share with you in this video, that there is this very big fallacy, Scientism. That's the name that I learned for it, but it may have another name. And I want to tag several people to talk a bit about this fallacy and give at least one example from a YouTube video. There are many, you wouldn't have any problem. I want to tag Zarkov45, I want to tag The Living Dinosaur and Concordance, and any other person on YouTube feel tagged to make such a video, because I think it is very important, and in this way we would cut those anti-rational memes at the basis, because that is the basic fallacies on which they are built. I told you at the beginning that it was inappropriate to explain the atom at the level of human history, using slavery, for example. And I am sure many of you thought, what are you saying? Somebody in the lunatic asylum can give such an explanation. But you would be surprised, on YouTube people give that explanation. Well, one person, and that person is Inmendham, in one of his debates. Bye for now.
In a way, matter is enslaved by atoms. Atoms basically enslave energy. They trap it into a form, and it loses its freedom. It's trapped in the matter. And then compounds are created by essentially a certain compound or attached to another. They just kind of steal it. It'll Shanghai. An atom is floating by and it gets shanghaied by some compound and swallowed up. It's kind of like how DNA, DNA kind of just consumes molecules, forces them to serve the structure. And you can sort of see it in the way our whole bodies form. It's all these enslaved compounds in chemistry, and even the way the organs function. It's all those cells are basically just slaves, workhorses that just put to work. You will produce this chemical, you will synthesize this, you'll do this, you'll do that. It's like it just kind of, everything's a slave to a certain order, and the order, once it's established, once the system is in place, it just it perpetuates itself through this enslavement process.